Honorable Speaker, it's not my wish to interrupt my learned senior Honorable Millie, and it's really unrelated to what she was, and to her submission. But I see the Honorable Gisai, Honorable Speaker, is not properly dressed to be in chambers, Honorable Speaker. He is actually in sneakers or sports shoes or something.
Honorable Osoro, I already ruled on that. I've asked that the Sergeant at Arms looks at it, checks if he's properly dressed,
but
and
he's
advises me,
still seated, because
he's not within my eye view. So the Sergeant at Arms is going to advise me shortly. Let's proceed, Honorable Millie.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I'd already actually raised the issue, because I know Honorable Clive wants to show that he's come back from Tashkent, Uzbekistan. I was with him, so I know he has really got some really nice outfits, and he said that he would be using them maybe to to welcome Matiang'I, but the welcome is done. So just now, dress properly for Parliament. But Madam Speaker, I was just saying, I was giving an example that when I went to my constituency, Madam Speaker, and one of the women who came to me, the public actually asked me to assist this woman, and when she came to me, she literally pulled her dress up, her blouse up, before the public. And she had a terrible breast, which was oozing with pus. And it's one of the things that I've just seen on textbooks, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, unfortunately, what Kenyans know now is that social protection has become almost a sole mandate of elected leaders. When I go to the constituency as a member of Parliament, when other members of Parliament got down to seek support, to seek to do their representation role, we are added other roles, which include social protection. And Madam Speaker, that is why sometimes I get amazed when you hear people who are elitists, who are divorced from realities of the ground, saying how CDF should be removed, Madam Speaker. Even though CDF focuses not on social protection but infrastructure, it has actually ameliorated some of the challenges and pressures that were put on members of Parliament. And one of those issues that are placed on members of Parliament right now is the issue of social protection. Madam Speaker, I recently started my PhD studies, and I seek to undertake my thesis on challenging some age-old held theories, including separation of powers. Madam Speaker, a very good concept that talks about the role of an MP being legislative, representative, and representation, but forgets the reality on the ground. That when I go to the ground, the public knows that that is, by the way, it's not my main role. The public knows my role is social protection. The public knows my role is development. And where it works, why do we have to fight what works? If we see a system that is working, must we remain true to something that was developed in 18-something by somebody who didn't know my village, Kolokanyala, in Rusinga Island, who doesn't know those realities? And Madam Speaker, we now also have scholars, we have intellectuals who can also come with beautiful theories. And I'm one of such intellectuals who will come with theories that will either improve Montesquieu's theory or will overthrow Montesquieu's theory. It will take 20 years or so, but I'm saying that out of Africa, something beautiful is happening. And that something beautiful is a different model of development that ensures infrastructure is coming up, that accelerates infrastructure. Because our core area of accountability is through election. You don't do work for members of the public, they throw you out. Who wants to be thrown out? So, Madam Speaker, we have to reconceptualize how we think. And one of the things that this would help before it completely overwhelms MPs is the issue of social protection. Madam Speaker, we provide for people with medical needs. We provide for bereavement. We provide for, mental health. We support even people who are having diaries and all that. Young men who want to marry and cannot be able to marry because they don't have means. It's a role of MPs. Madam Speaker, if I was asked to write a CV of what an MP is, It's very different from what I see the elite people write. Legislation, representation, and oversight. We are pastors, we are intercessors, we are preachers, we are social protection systems, we are ATMs, we do, pardon? Councillors. Madam Speaker, the list is endless. But we need to reduce it to a manageable level and look at the ones that work. And one of them that works excellently, and people are coming from all over Africa to benchmark, is CDF. And that is why, in order to shield us, let us make sure that the government at least takes the social protection to protect our vulnerable women, to protect our vulnerable children, to protect persons with disability, and other marginalized and minority communities in the society. With those few remarks, Madam Speaker, I support.
Thank you. The Honorable Member for Suba West, Honorable Masara. Suna West, yes, Honorable Masara. I know you had a similar bill. Yes, proceed.
Thank you so much, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I think our gods are with us, because in this Parliament, we are going to pass a bill which is going to help so many people. I want this House to also remember the late Honorable Laboso, Joyce, because her, with the assistance of Honorable Millie, who also assisted me to draft the bill, and I'm copying her. She's doing her PhD on the same line. I'm also a student of PhD on the same line. And we are talking about this particular bill. The Social Protection Bill, Madam Speaker, is a very important bill. And I want to support this bill, but I want to put Parliament into put some information that the bill I've worked for the last 7 years is why this bill is in this House, because it was supposed to go to the third reading. Madam Speaker, the beneficiary of social protection bill are people who are really in need of our support, more so as leaders. In Kenya today, if I can give a brief for those who have not gone through this bill, the vulnerable society are benefiting. But by the time this bill, the program was started, they were being given 2,000. By that time, $1 was 100 shillings. It was equal to $1. So according to the United Nations ranking, anybody earning or living with below $2 per day is supposed to be supported. Currently, $1 is, for some times back, $1 was 160 something shillings, but these people are still being given 2,000. I'm supporting this bill, but in one condition, that we need to merge the two bills, because we don't want social protection, the bill, to give people tokens. And these tokens need to be managed. There need to be a rationale on how these monies are given to the vulnerable people in the society. In the Section 2 of the Children Act, the objective of this act are to caution all persons against risk and contingency throughout their life cycle. That is okay. Build human capital, capability, and resilience of all persons, and promote the well-being of persons. If we stop there, it does not talk about how it will resonate well with the economic times. When there is fluctuation, when there is recession in the economy of a country, this bill, the current bill, is not talking about that. In my bill, it is talking about that all factors shall be considered each and every time with regards to what is happening in the economy. So, Madam Speaker, this bill needs to be pushed and to be concluded together with mine. Mine is in the third stage. How I wish Parliament can take mine, the majority leader to push it. Whatever is not in mine can be added in mine. Then we merge it, we come up with a bill which is progressive. Because as it is now, it is static. If it is 2,000, it is 2,000. If it is 1,000, it is 1,000. So, Madam Speaker, I want to support the passing and legislative on this particular item, but with some rider that all factors need to be considered. Part of it is not applicable, because when you talk about all persons qualifying for this particular item, Madam Speaker, in my bill, I'm suggesting that somebody can be in this bracket over a period of time. When he's out of that time, is removed from that particular support. But this one is talking of all persons. So as I support this bill, I'll talk with most of our members and the leadership of Parliament so that we can bring them together. We come up with a legislation which is progressive, which will go for a longer period of time, but as well helping the needy people. Madam Speaker, the CDF now, we have a provision of supporting these vulnerable people through paying for them health, NHIF, the previous scheme. Now it is SHA. When this bill is implemented, the county government also will be given opportunity to...
What's your point of order, Honorable Otiende?
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I seek your direction on standing order number 1 on a very simple matter. I'm listening to Honorable Masara support the bill, but he's also asking you to direct that his own bill be brought forth so that the bills can be considered together. It sounds to me, Madam Speaker, as if then Honorable Masara is not actually supporting this bill, because procedurally, as I understand it, usually in such circumstances, then both bills would usually be referred to the relevant committee to rationalize and consolidate and then present. So, Madam Speaker, is it in order for Honorable Masara to be asking you to refer his own bill to the House while also supporting a separate bill? Madam Speaker, I seek your direction.
I think I was letting him ventilate, but I think eventually what it comes to is that at the time when we have the committee of the whole, he'll probably be able to move some amendments or suggest amendments to it. That's how it came to me. That there are some aspects, the bills are similar, but there are some aspects that are not incorporated in this current bill that are in your bill.
Yes.
So I was going to get there, but I think you can proceed.
Thank you, my senior and speaker. Both of you are learned friends. I'm learning a lot from you. And I don't want to add or remove anything from what you have said. I'll just proceed. And thank you so much for the support you have given me. You know, I got a boost because of this bill. Getting a bill to reach third reading in this house is a real problem. Madam Speaker, I started that my bill in my first term, first month in Parliament. We ended up finishing the 12th Parliament without concluding it. In this 13th Parliament, it is almost 3 years I've been talking about this bill each and every day, each and every week. So members, to summarize, because I know many want to contribute to this particular bill, is that this bill is very important. And it is important, but mine is more important because it's a progressive one. Therefore, if we want to solve a gap which was there in the previous bill, because the previous bill which was sponsored in this house by the late Honorable Joyce Laboso was very good, but it was never implemented. The ministry took over the bill and they promised the Parliament that they are going to enhance it, but they never did it almost 10 years after the death of Joyce Laboso. That's why my bill delayed. Now what I'm asking is that we must legislate on bills which will serve the current generation and generation to come, and it is for prosperity. In that regard, as you have ably advised me, in the third reading, we'll have to merge these two bills and come up with a bill which will support our people. Madam Speaker, on the issue of NGCDF, NGCDF is the lifeline of Kenyans. If you want a devolved function, money which the people of Kenya are enjoying is NGCDF. In Suna West constituency alone, I've done 4 police stations. I've done 4 ACC's offices. I've done the ACC office. I've done anti-stock theft. I've built 27 new schools, 23 primary and 4 new girls secondary schools using CDF. 1,200 people who are enjoying the insurance cover, NHIF, using NCDF money. 500 students are fully sponsored in Suna West using NGCDF money. Madam Speaker, we can kill any other fund, but we need to increase allocation for NGCDF, and it should be timely. The first allocation which the Treasury need to do is NCDF. Even before paying salary, NCDF should be released, because it reaches to all the 290 constituencies in Kenya are enjoying the fruits of NGCDF. Madam Speaker, having said that, as a country, we need to put our priority right. And as a researcher, I know when you have operated with an item for over 10 years, we need to relook into our constitution so that where the drafters erred or where there were gap can be corrected so that Kenyan people can enjoy. I'm an aspirant I'm going to be a governor of Migori in 2027. But the truth of the matter is, as it stands, the people cannot enjoy the fruits of devolution. Many people died, including Dr. Odhiambo. But now their families and generation are not enjoying the fruits of devolution because of the gaps in the constitution. Madam Speaker, you remember I'm the last mayor of Migori. I operated with the Local Government Act, Cap 264.
Okay, you can have, let's give him a minute.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. You know, there are very few mayors in this town. His Lordship, the mayor. I'm very few, like now I'm the only one here. If you can look, the money, the project we started with the Latif, which was only 57 million per municipality. They are the project now, the county, especially on the health sectors. All the health centers started by Municipal Council of Migori are the ones still existing today. Therefore, Madam Speaker, as we move on, as we legislate, let us not also introspect ourselves on what must be done so that the Kenyan population can enjoy the fruits of paying their taxes. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Member for Endebess. And members who want to contribute to this, please press the intervention button.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, I stand to support the Social Protection Bill, National Assembly Bill number 12 of 2025. Honorable Speaker, this is a very crucial bill. And as you are aware, social protection deals with the most vulnerable members of the society, where it has several pillars. Among them is where they are able to give money to the elderly. I know Majority Whip was referring to my neighbor, Honorable Ferdinand Wanyonye, being elderly, but he's not elderly. Honorable Ferdinand is a young man. And when I was growing up, I saw him fighting with Norway, Kesa Makalanganga, very hard, and he's still very energetic and going very strong. So he's not elderly. And I'm being told by the women rep for Kericho that he married a second wife the other day. So he's still young. Thank you, Madam Speaker. So we've been seeing that in this bill, Honorable Speaker, the social, the SAF fund, the Social Accounts Fund, through the amendment to the Public Finance Management Act, will be able to be created. And this will also have a board, because currently as it is constituted under the Ministry of Social Protection, we only get communication as members of parliament that money is being credited into the accounts of those who are elderly. But you find that among those who are elderly, there is somebody who is 70 who is getting the money, and there is somebody who is 75 and is not getting the money. And these people have no way of appeal. This bill creates an appeals mechanism for people to be able to appeal to the board. It also creates a board that will be able to be dispersing those funds, and the board can also be able to have extensions and have a mechanism, because the bill is also concerning counties, and it talks of the coordination between the national government and the county government, so that this brings a whole mechanism. Madam Speaker, you know that we have a contentious county allocation of revenue bill in this House. And the main reason is that we got devolution as a country. But unfortunately, we devolve corruption to the counties. Most of the money that is going to the counties is not ending up in the ward level. It is yesterday I saw the control of budget, Mr. Kango, making a very serious allegation that county governments, once they've made a requisition for bending bills, the bending bills, once they are released, are not ending up to pay the A and B who had been requested for that payment. But the county governments are going and reallocating again that money, because the control of budget is not able to look at whether that they have been able to, whether they are able to do what they had requisitioned for. And I think this is a very clearing corruption case. And I don't know why the EACC, whom they are waiting for, because these are very clearing corruption, and I think action needs to be taken. Honorable Speaker, even the fight about the road maintenance levy is not about doing roads for the people. We've seen what Kura has done. We've seen what Kera has done. In the constituency, once Kera has done the road, you will find that counties want to come and even put a board into that road saying it has been done by the county government. And the money that was supposed to do that road disappears. So the fight is not about doing the roads. It's not about assisting the Wananchi. It's not about devolving of the funds. It is about money being siphoned out of the proposed or alleged programs that they are supposed to do. Honorable Speaker, I think as a House we need to pass this bill so that we can have a clear mechanism on how those who are most vulnerable within the society, the elderly, the orphans, those who are within poverty-stricken areas. And it's very sad, Madam Speaker, that yesterday in Nairobi alone, we lost about 6 people in the slums of Mathare and other places as a result of rains. These are risks. This is what exposes our people to unnecessary deaths, where you have a stone falling into a house where there is a mother and the children, and all of them loses their lives. This is very sad, Madam Speaker, that it should not be happening in this day and era. And therefore, I think it's important that as we come into and forming this social protection, House approving the social protection bill, and us having a board that will be able to look at this issue, the most vulnerable members within the society, that issues about people being killed by a lot of rains and causing floods should not be happening. Madam Speaker, I heard the former mayor for Migori talking about that his bill needs to be matched with this bill at the third reading. That is not a possibility. It doesn't happen. That is not how bills or how laws are made. His bill since we have this bill, I think the most sensible thing would be for him to make his amendments and put into, because this is a government bill, put his amendments into this government bill, bring his amendments, then we can reject his bill, and so that we can have only one bill that will address this. We should not be having a duplication, then later on we are not able to do it in a proper way. So since this is a bill that is sponsored by the majority, we should be able to, even our own standing orders gives it that the majority or a bill sponsored by government has priority of a bill that is sponsored by the member. And therefore, this is a bill that is now going through the second reading. We'll be able to pass it. Then once we pass as a House, and because it's a priority, we can go to the committee of the whole House, pass this bill, it goes to the Senate, and the Senate can also fast track it so that it becomes a law. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I want to support this bill and hope that we can be able to fast track it and make it necessary for Kenyans to be able to enjoy social protection. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
The Honorable Member for Kericho County, Honorable Beatrice Kemei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And on the onset, I want to support the Social Protection Bill of 2025. Honorable Speaker, this is a very, very important bill to me and even to us as members of Parliament. Social Protection Bill. This bill takes care of the vulnerable in the society. And this is where we have the government having these policies and programs which are designed to safeguard individuals against poverty, vulnerability, and even social exclusion throughout their lives. This is a bill, Honorable Speaker, that aims to prevent or mitigate risks and emergencies, and especially for the vulnerable groups, and it will promote social inclusion. Honorable Speaker, as the County MP Kericho, I want to put it clear that women reps or county MPs have so much responsibilities, and especially when it comes to the people we represent. Those are the people living with disability, women, elderly, the children, and even the youth who are also in the bracket of being vulnerable. And Honorable Speaker, with this knowledge, the allocation of NGAF is not enough to cater for the needs of these many vulnerable groups. I'm glad when we have this bill because it will help us so much. And especially when it comes to the basic needs. Honorable Speaker, I have been able to meet at least many of these vulnerable groups, and especially women, the widows, and even those having children living with disability. With the allocation of NGAF, I've been able to help quite a number. Over 20 have habitable houses. And Honorable Speaker, what we have is so much. The demand for good houses is so much. Not to forget clothing, and even especially during this season when it is raining. Those who don't have blankets are so many, Honorable Speaker. Those who don't have good shelter are so many. So with this social protection bill, I am sure the government, the national government, and to a large extent, the county government will be able to help these vulnerable groups, of which here we have those living with disability, we have the elderly, we have the orphans. Honorable Speaker, I'm looking at the groups which that the board will be able to provide the social protection and to these particular groups, orphans or vulnerable children, the poor older members of the society, persons with disabilities, persons in extreme poverty, persons who are affected by shocks. So, Honorable Speaker, we have these categories, and even in Kericho County, we have so many of these, not forgetting the parents who have these vulnerable children. They cannot work, they cannot even provide for these vulnerable children, the PWDs and even others. So this is a very, very important bill for us. And I support saying that this bill will also lift a burden on the members of the society, on the members of the church. This will also lift a burden on the leaders, just like what my other colleagues have said, that members of parliament are expected to provide for every need, be it a personal need, maybe people traveling, people have no food, people have no clothing, not to forget the school fees for the vulnerable children. Some of them have dropped out of school because of lack of fees. So when we come in, when we have the NGCDF and GAF, at least we'll be able to have them in school. But however, there are other needs that NGCDF and GAF may not provide, and this is where this social protection bill comes in. So when we have this assistance in form of cash transfer, transfer in kind, we also have social care services, that is according to the bill, where we also have rehabilitation services to these very needy persons. Honorable Speaker, in our societies, we also have not only the youth, those people who have gone through issues of drugs, issues of alcohol, they need services, at least they need rehabilitation, and this is where this bill comes in. And even psychological support is what they also require, Honorable Speaker. So in this, I say that this bill is very, very important. Honorable Speaker, and some of our children go to school without food. This is now where a feeding program comes in schools and even in those centers or in rehabilitation centers. Some of our children will only have one meal in a day, and the meal is the meal that is in school. So with this bill, I am sure a feeding program will also be upheld, it will be promoted. And Honorable Speaker, some of these elderly people need home-based care. And say for us, as a Kenyan, an African, and for that matter from my community, we are not these people who take our elderly persons to the homes, to the elderly homes. We take care of them at home. But taking care of them by those people who don't also have will be a challenge. So even with this cash transfer of 2,000, it is not enough for these elderly people. But when we have this bill, I am sure other factors considered, they will have more of this money and they'll have more of the resources that they require, and even transfer in kind. And we'll be able to take care of them, or they'll be taken care of them in their homes. Honorable Speaker, apart from that, when you talk of support, the elderly people may not only need cash, may not only need kind transfers and all that, they also need psychological support. That is when we'll have people around them. We still need them at least to be able to use the wisdom they have. This is now where this bill also comes in very, very important. Honorable Speaker, looking at the work of the county, and we have in this bill that in the administration and provision of social protection, the county government will have to implement national government policies on social protection through county-specific legislation and strategies. And they'll also be able to allocate resources for social protection intervention at the county levels. Not to forget that the registry, they'll have to develop a registry for social protection. This is now when we'll be able to know how many in every county, how many of these categories do we have, and how many will be assisted or will actually benefit from this. And without this bill, Honorable Speaker,